What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, this is something I have to address. I've been reading a lot of comments. As you guys know, looks like Adrien the Problem Broner versus Malagi are set to face off, I believe, June 22nd. And I'm reading a lot of comments, and some are flagrantly biased. Now, if you listen to my channel, you'll know that I try to keep it. Obviously, it's a channel, so it's based on my opinion and what I've seen. But I try to keep it fair. I do like Adrien Broner as a fighter. I think he has a lot of potential. He's still young, and I like what I see. However, it's no man's above the law or the code. So there's things in Broner that I've said that I don't particularly like, and I've stated that in previous videos. Again, if you watch my channel, you'll know that. So I have no problem liking a fighter, but they're not perfect, so I'm not necessarily content with everything that they do, and this is my opinion. However, some people are just flagrantly hating on Broner, which is hilarious because, one, by hating on him, you're still keeping his name relevant and you're still keeping his name in your mouth, and you're spending the time talking about him, and you despise him or you hate him or whatever. So what you're doing is kind of counterproductive. Situations like that, if you really hate him, hate his antics, then it seems like you would probably do something like just pay him no mind. And I think that would hurt him or his career more if no one's talking about him. But the more you talk, the more relevant he becomes. So that's just a little message for the people who hate on really any fighter. The more you talk about them, the more relevant you're keeping them, because you're at that point creating a conversation that requires responses and that kind of thing. So anyway, about Adrien Broner, I want to take this time to talk about him. I'm reading, one of the popular things that I'm reading on different forums is Broner is afraid, so he's ducking the 140-pound division to move up 2 weight classes to face Malagi, who is a light puncher. And I've said that before. I think it's no secret that Malagi doesn't pack much of a punch. However, I want to explore that further and then give you my takes on it, and then you guys can leave comments and let me know what you think. As far as this, I'm okay with this fight. I don't know about you guys, but I am okay. A lot of people said they want to see Malagi, or excuse me, they want to see Adrien Broner step up. He hasn't fought nobody, even though he beat the #1 lightweight, which was Antonio DeMarco at the time. And he fought Ponce de Leon, whether you think he won or lost. So he's been in there with some people who are ranked. Jason Litzau was ranked, I believe, at the time he fought him. So the list goes on. I don't really have to go into his resume like that. However, this is a marquee name, Malagi. He's been in there with some of the greatest fighters of his era. He's been in there with the Miguel Cottos. He's been in there with the rising star like Amir Khan, Juan Diaz. Like, he's been in there with some marquee names himself. So whether you think he's feather-fisted, pillow-fisted, which is true, he is a light puncher, that doesn't take away from his ring intelligence. And some of you guys probably should stick to UFC or just other combat sports. I don't know, Muay Thai or kickboxing or something, because you don't understand that boxing is called the sweet science for a reason, because there's a science. It's like a game of chess. It's not to take anything away from any other sports, MMA or anything else. However, different styles match up differently, so it's not going to be a non-stop brawl till we knock our heads off, like Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward or something. But there will be fights like that. Mike Alvarado and Brandon Rios was an example of that. Very entertaining. But again, to me, to be a real avid boxing fan, if you claim, then you have to embrace the different styles. And one of the styles is, there are more slick defensive style fighters. Miguel Vasquez, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Bernard Hopkins, 48 years old, taking on a young hungry lion and making him looking bad, like making him look bad. I call it the bull versus the matador. In that case, Tavoris Cloud would have been the bull, and Bernard Hopkins was the matador. He used movement, lateral movement, footwork. He was always 2 steps ahead of anything that Tavoris Cloud was doing, and that comes from experience. So my point being is, Tavoris Cloud, I don't know if anyone can really dispute in terms of raw strength at this point of his career, Bernard Hopkins is not the stronger person in that Tavoris Cloud fight. Tavoris Cloud has a higher KO ratio. He's younger, fresher legs. He's been in less wars. Bernard Hopkins has been in there with Oscar De La Hoya. He's been in there with Jermaine Hopkins Jermaine Taylor, when Taylor was still a force in the division. Winky Wright. I mean, Bernard Hopkins has been in there with some classic vintage people. Calzaghe, Roy Jones Jr. twice. I mean, he's been through his wars. Plus, just natural attrition and his body, just from being 48 years old. So at this point of his career, I can't argue that Bernard Hopkins wasn't the stronger man. However, he used his mind to basically create opportunities and make himself look good and make Tavoris Cloud look a lot less than spectacular. And that's what he did. So I'm saying all of this to say this. Adrien Broner versus someone who is a lighter puncher like Paulie Malignaggi, that's one thing. But Paulie Malignaggi is older. And if you have the right dynamics, if you have the right... you can't just be a bum that works at Kmart and then go against top level guys and expect to win. I'm not saying that. But Paulie Malignaggi is not that. So a lot of people discredit Paulie Malignaggi based solely on the fact that he's a feather-fisted puncher. But in boxing, realistically, that doesn't make the winner. There's other things like heart, determination, how you train, how you condition your body, if you abuse your body, your ring intelligence. Same thing with Sergio Martinez versus Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. weighs upwards of 180, 185 pounds on fight night. I have no doubt in my mind that Chavez Jr., with that type of size advantage and being younger than Sergio Martinez, is a stronger person. I guarantee you he's probably just packs more of a punch. But again, Sergio Martinez is seasoned and he's elusive. He's crafty. He has a lot better footwork. He creates opportunities through using his mind and his footwork. And the list goes on and on. You can do this all day. So that's my point. It's not based solely on, in boxing. It's not based solely on your punching power, because the same could be said with Kendall Holt versus Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is not the harder hitter out of Kendall Holt and Lamont Peterson, but Lamont Peterson has a will to win. He has heart. He has determination. He has a decent punch, and he is a smarter fighter with a better defense. So Kendall Holt did things, and it looked like he got gassed out in the fight. Who knows what his training camp was like? Whereas Lamont Peterson had something to prove. He was trying to make a statement, and he did just that by beating Kendall Holt and stopping him. But if you talk about raw strength, Kendall Holt is known for his punch. I mean, that's his claim to fame. That's his ticket to fame, his punch. So leave a comment if you feel that Lamont Peterson hits harder than Kendall Holt. And please explain what makes you feel that way. So again, Adrien Broner going up 2 weight classes. That's something for your body to consider. Going up 2 weight classes, you can't just go. Not everyone could just go up 2 weight classes and do what they did. If that's the case, then how did Roy Jones Jr. go all the way up to heavyweight from middleweight and win and beat John Ruiz? I mean, that takes a level of skill to be able to do that, especially to go from 0 to 60. And by that, Broner's not taking a tune-up fight. He's fighting someone with the title, somebody, whether feather-fisted or not, somebody who won a title and defended their title and won. Even though, in my opinion, that was a very close fight against Pablo Cesar Cano, and I think Cano should have won, but in boxing, it doesn't really matter what we think in terms of if the judges decide against it, because at that case, I think Clottey probably should have beat Cotto. Richard Abreu should have beat Brandon Rios. But it doesn't matter. I mean, these aren't blemishes on the record. The judges seen otherwise, so realistically, it still counts as a win. It's a title defense where Paulie Malignaggi was awarded the victory for whatever reason. So you can live your life based on what ifs, and this should have happened and didn't happen, but honestly, as it sits, Paulie Malignaggi is a champion, and he defended his title, and he's still the champion. And again, he's seasoned. So I hate when people say, "Oh, he's going against a feather-fisted opponent." Yeah, but he's also a thinking fighter. There's no way you can go up against guys who hit a lot harder than you and come out unscathed or come out with the victory. I mean, you have to be a smart thinker. So I think it's a good test for Adrien Broner. And furthermore, in my previous video, I kind of touched on this potential fight before it was set in stone. And nobody's really been able to answer the question. Okay, Adrien Broner, and this was said way before the Malagi situation was even announced or came into fruition. Adrien Broner, Team Adrien Broner, there's videos out, articles out, whatever, and they said they want to see him fight a couple times this year. He already had one fight, defended his title against Gavin Reese. He beat him, and he's looking for another opponent. And they're trying to keep their young fighter busy and active. Nobody wants to do like a James Kirkland who hasn't fought in like 9-10 months. That's not good for you. And again, Adrien Broner's young. They want to keep him hungry and they want to keep him active. And that's most younger fighters, their teams and their training camps are going to be like that. Mikey Garcia, he just fought Orlando Salido, had a broken nose in that fight, and now he's already set to face Juanma Lopez. I believe that's official because I've seen pictures of Garcia and Juanma Lopez, I think in Puerto Rico or something. So he's a young fighter. That's what happens when you're a young fighter. Again, point being, Adrien Broner, they want him to fight a couple times this year. 2 to 4 or whatever amount his team feels is sufficient. So who can Adrien Broner realistically fight at 140 pounds that makes sense from a business and a career perspective for him to fight? Brandon Rios is fighting Mike Alvarado in March. So he can't fight Brandon Rios in June because Brandon Rios has a March fight against Alvarado. So those are 240-pound opponents that aren't eligible. Not even considering the fact that I believe both of those fighters are with Top Rank. Broner is with Golden Boy, and those two promotional companies do not work together. See Pacquiao Mayweather. See Nonito Abner Mars, etc. So that fight, I don't even know why it's a fight everyone wants to see. True, but I don't even think that'll happen in the near future, and I'm not going to hold my breath for it. Lamont Peterson just came off an impressive win against Kendall Holt. One, Adrien Broner and Lamont Peterson are great friends, so I doubt they'll fight. Even still, he can't fight him in June because they're trying to put together Lamont Peterson versus Lucas Matisse, and I think that's a fight that makes more sense. Lamont Peterson or Lucas Matisse, they both have belts at the 140-pound division. Broner, moving up to 140 pounds, will not have a 140-pound belt. So it makes more sense for Lucas Matisse and Peterson to have a unification fight and them both fight. And that'll give Lucas Matisse to get a chance to get a belt that actually means a damn. So I know you want Broner to lose, but realistically, does that make sense for Adrien Broner to fight Lamont Peterson, his friend, and that's his opinion, that's his deal, or for him to fight Lucas Matisse when they both have belts? That'll be an exciting matchup in itself, Lucas Matisse versus Peterson, and it's a unification bout, but you want Broner to, because he talks a lot of shit or whatever, so you want him to fight a belt holder in Lucas Matisse or Lamont Peterson, and he has nothing to offer. It makes no sense from a business perspective. It makes no sense. Would they be great fights? Sure, I'll give you that. It would be a great fight, but it doesn't make sense from a business perspective. Danny Garcia, rib injury, postponed his Zab Judah fight till April. There's no way he could fight Adrien Broner in June. The winner can't fight. That's too soon. How are they going to have a training camp and have that big of a fight, two big fights back to back? So Zab Judah, Lamont Peterson, Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia, they're all out of the equation. Amir Khan is fighting Diaz. He's fighting Diaz. And that fight can't happen in June. So who do you want him to fight at 140? Because I'm hearing all this stuff. He ducked the 140-pound division. He's afraid. Who can he fight at 140 pounds? You have Bredis Prescott, who's actually fighting, I think this month too. So he can't fight Bredis Prescott. And Bredis Prescott, it'd be a good competitive fight because he can hit. But I don't even know how good it would be because Bredis Prescott hasn't looked excellent in his last couple fights. But even still, it doesn't make sense for him to fight that. What does Bredis Prescott bring to the equation? No belt. He's not really a household name. It makes no sense. A Jose who just lost his belt to Lucas Matisse. It makes no sense. It'd be a good fight. It'd be entertaining based on the styles, but it doesn't mean a fight that's going to make sense. As Malagi is a title holder, is 2 divisions up from him, and they both have fan bases. So from a business perspective, you tell me what makes more sense. Anyway, let me know what fights you want to see. And there's no guarantee that he's going to stay at 147. I highly doubt that he does. I think he wants to pick off Malagi and he'll come back down. So that's my opinion. Let me know what fight can realistically happen in June for Broner at 140. Let me know something. Till next videos, Ego signing off.